1951. In an attempt to justify their view, these Jewish scholars say that the 7 weeks are, not 7 times 7, or 49 years, but 70 years. Yet they count the 62 weeks as 7 times 62 years. This, they claim, referred to the period of Babylonian exile. They make Cyrus or Zerubbabel or High Priest Jeshua the Anointed One in this verse Dar 9:25, with the Anointed One in Daniel 9:26 being another person. Most English translations do not follow the Masoretic punctuation here. They either have a comma after the expression 7 weeks, or in the wording indicate that the 62 weeks follow the 7 as part of the 70, and do not denote that the 62 weeks apply to the period of rebuilding Jerusalem. Compare Dar 9:25 in KJ, at, die, NW, Ro, Ig. An editorial note by James Strong in Lang's Commentary on the Holy Scriptures Dar 9:25, FTN, p. 198 says, the only justification of this translation, which separates the two periods of 7 weeks and 62 weeks, assigning the former as the terminus ad quem of the anointed prince, and the latter as the time of rebuilding, lies in the Masoretic interpunction, which places the athnac stop between them. And the rendering in question involves a harsh construction of the second member, being without a preposition. It is better, therefore, and simpler, to adhere to the authorized version, which follows all the older translations. Translated and edited by P. Schaff, 1976. Numerous other O textoi acute miritra longo. Sewing 904. These were the impossible problems for unbelief to solve. It had to solve them for itself, which was, so far, easier. For nothing is impossible for unbelief to believe, except what God reveals. P. 206. Sewing. Fastening together by stitches of some sort. From earliest times sewing, including embroidery, has played a prominent part in mankind's activities. X26. 1. 35. 35. Job 16. 15. EC 3. 7. S 13. 18. The first man and woman, Adam and Eve, sewed fig leaves together and made loin coverings. GE 3. 7. This may simply mean that they fastened the large fig leaves together, using twigs of the fig tree to do so. When explaining why his disciples did not fast as did the Pharisees and John's disciples, Christ Jesus pointed out that sewing a piece of unshrunk cloth on an old garment would worsen the tear. Mr. 2. 18. 21. When washed, the patch would shrink and, in the process, pull away from the old garment, ripping it. This illustration should have helped those hearing Jesus' words to see that it was now time for them to become his followers, and that it was wrong for them to try to impose their practices on Jesus' disciples. John himself had earlier explained that his work was preparatory for Christ's coming and, therefore, was of a temporary nature. Joe 3. 27-30. Sha'alabim. See Shalbim. Shalbim Shalmiddle.Albim. A city whose Amorite inhabitants were subjected to forced labor by the house of Joseph. JG 1. 35. Later, Shalbim was included in one of the districts annually providing Solomon's household with food. 1 Kai 4. 7-9. It is generally understood to be the same as Sha'alabim, a border city of Dan. Jos 19. 40-42. There is only the difference of the final consonant in the Hebrew spelling of the two names. Shalbim may be an alternate name for Shalbim. 2 Sa 23. 32. 1 Ch 11. 33. Shalbim is identified with the abandoned village of Selbet Tel Sharalbim, which appears to preserve the biblical name. It is situated about 25 kilometers 16 MW of Jerusalem and relatively near the suggested sites of other places mentioned with Shalbim in the scriptures. Shalbanite Shalmiddle.Albamiddle.Night. The designation of Eliaba, one of David's warriors, presumably indicating one from the city of Shalbim. 2 Sa 23. 8, 32. 1 Ch 11. 26, 33. Shara Alim Shara Middle. Lim handfuls. Hollows of the hand. a land Saul passed through when searching for the lost she-asses belonging to his father Kish. 1 So 9. 3, 4 Because of the difficulty of determining Saul's exact route, the situation of Sha'ar-elim is not definitely known. Some scholars have equated the land of Sha'ar-elim with the land of Shul in 1 Samuel 13. 17. At any rate, a location in Ephraim seems best suited to the context. Sha'af. 1. The son of Caleb the son of Hezron by his concubine Ma'akah. Sha'af was the founder or father of those who settled Madmannah. 1 Ch 2. 9, 42, 48, 49. 2. Last named of the 6 sons of Jardai listed among the descendants of Caleb the son of Hezron in the tribe of Judah. 1 Ch 2. 9, 42, 47. Sha'araim Sha'ara middle dot Raim double gate. 1. A city of Judah in the Shephelah. Jos 15. 20, 33, 36 After David's defeat of Goliath and because of the Israelite pursuit, the Philistine dead was scattered from Sha'araim as far as Gath and Ekron. 1 17. 52 Sha'araim was in the vicinity of the lower plain of Elah the Santa Mechariela and Azekah Telzekah yet Elzekah. Jos 15. 35. 1 17. 1, 2 A specific identification has not been made. 2. A city of Simeon. 1 Ch 4. 24, 31 It is apparently the same as Shilhim Jos 15. 32 and Shura, Han. Jos 19. 6 It is tentatively identified with Tel El Fa'ar Tel Shurur, Han, about 35 km 22 MW of Beersheba. Shashgaz Shamiddle Ashgaz. The guardian of the concubines of King Ahasuerus. His eunuch in charge of the second house of women. As 2. 14. Shabbatai Shabbi middle type born on the Sabbath. Apostexilic Levite. The text at Ezra 10. 15 reads. However, Jonathan o textoi acute miritra longo, shalecheth 905 shekels. See bond. Shadow. A place of shade, weather provided by a cragissa 32. 2, a cloud dissa 25. 5, a boothissa 4. 6, a trika 2. 3. S 17. 23. Ho 4. 13, or another kind of plant John 4. 5, 6. It may afford welcome protection from the hot sun. Therefore, one is figuratively said to come under the shadow of that which serves as or is looked to for protection, covering, security, or refuge. Thus, with reference to the strangers he had taken into his home, Lot said to the men of Sodom, "Only to these men do not do a thing, because that is why they have come under the shadow of my roof." Ge 19. 8 And Jehovah, by means of his prophet Isaiah, pronounced woe upon those taking refuge in the shadow of Egypt, that is, looking to Egypt for protection. Is 30. 1-3. See also La 4. 20. S 31. 6, 12, 17. Especially is Jehovah described as providing protective shade or shadow to his people. PS 91. 1. 121. 5. Isla 25. 4 Or giving them shadow-like protection under his hand or his wings. PS 17. 8. 36. 7. 57. 1. 63. 7. Isla 49. 2. 51. 16 On the other hand, deep shadow is associated with gloom, danger, even the grave. The land of darkness. Job 10. 21, 22. 24. 17. 38. 17. PS 23. 4. The way in which a shadow changes in size and finally is no more as a result of the sun's progress is used as a simile of man's being short-lived or transient. 1 Ch 29. 15. Job 8. 9. 14. 1, 2. PS 102. 11. 144. 4. EC 6. 12. 8. 13. For an individual's days to be like a shadow that has declined signifies that his death is near. PS 102. 11. 109. 23. Whereas shadows cast by the sun are always changing in size and direction as the earth rotates, Jehovah is unchangeable. As the disciple James wrote, with him there is not a variation of the turning of the shadow. Ches 1. 17. The shadow, or dark image, that an object casts on a surface is not substantial, not the real thing. Yet it can give an idea of the general shape or design of the reality that casts it. In this connection Paul explained that the Lord, including its festivals, tabernacle, and sacrifices, had a shadow that represented greater things to come. He wrote, the reality belongs to the Christ. Col 2. 16, 17. Heb 8. 5. 9. 23-28. 10. 1. Regarding the miraculous reversing of the shadow mentioned at 2 Kings 20. 9-11 and Isaiah 38. 8. See Sun. Shadrach. The Babylonian name of a Jewish exile elevated to a high position in the government of Babylon. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the 3 companions of Daniel, are always mentioned together, and Shadrach is always listed first, perhaps because their corresponding Hebrew names, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, always appear in alphabetical order according to the Hebrew characters. The Babylonian names were given to them after they had been taken to Babylon. There they received training, since they had been observed to be without blemish, good-looking and intelligent youths. By the end of 3 years' study, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were found to be 10 times better than the wise men of Babylon. Certainly they had Jehovah's blessing, which in turn, no doubt, was partly due to their steadfast refusal to pollute themselves with the Babylonian delicacies. Dar 1. 3-20 Their next recorded appointment was to the administration of the jurisdictional district of Babylon. Dar 2. 49 They temporarily lost the king's favor when they refused to bow to his great image, but after Jehovah brought them out of the fiery furnace unharmed, they were restored to their former position. Dar 3. Shaji. A Hararite whose son Jonathan was one of David's mighty men. 1 Ch 11. 26, 34 The parallel passage at 2 Samuel 23. 32, 33 reads, Jonathan, Shammah the Hararite. It is usually agreed that the words son of have somehow been lost, which, if supplied, would make the text read Jonathan the son of Shammah the Hararite, Shammah apparently being an alternative name for Shaji. O text to acute miritra longo, Shalom 906 Shalom Shalom from a root meaning make peace. Compensate. Repay. 1. Last named son of Naphtali. 1 Ch 7. 13 spelled Shalom in other texts. GE 46. 24. New 26. 49. See Shilem. 2. Son of Shaul, grandson of Simeon, and father of Mibsam. 1 Ch 4. 24, 25. 3. Son of Sismaiah and father of Jechamiah in the Jeremielite genealogical division in Judah. 1 Ch 2. 4, 5, 9, 25, 40, 41. 4. A head gatekeeper of the sanctuary who at one time was stationed at the king's gate to the heir descendant of Korah. Though the name appears mainly in lists of those returning from Babylon and living in Jerusalem 1 Ch 9. 2, 3, 17-19, 31, 34. As 2. 1, 42. NE 7. 45. References such as to the dining room of Marcia the son of Shallum the doorkeeper in Jeremiah's time J 35. 4 might indicate that the name appearing in the post-exilic lists refers to a paternal house, or family, of gatekeepers descended from an earlier Shallum. added assurance that this is so would be given if he is the same as the Shelemiah and Meshelemiah mentioned in 1 Chronicles 26. 1, 2, 9, 14 as the gatekeeper of the sanctuary during David's reign. 5. 16th king of the 10-tribe kingdom. Son of Jabesh. In a conspiracy Shallum killed Zechariah, the last of Jehu's ruling descendants, and became king in Samaria for 1 lunar month in about 791 BCE only to be murdered by Menahem. 2 Kai 15. 8, 10-15. 6. An Ephraimite whose son Jehizkiah was one of the tribal leaders who objected to making captives of their brothers from Judah. 2 Ch 28. 12, 13. 7. A descendant of Aaron in the high priestly line. Shallum's son or descendant Hilkiah officiated during Josiah's reign. 1 Ch 6. 12, 13. 2 Ch 34. 9 Ezra also descended from him. Ez 7. 1, 2 He is elsewhere called Meshullam. 1 Ch 9. 11. Any 11. 11. See Meshullam no. 4. 8. Husband of Huldah, the prophetess whom King Josiah's delegation visited. Son of Tikva. He was presumably the caretaker of the garments, either for the priests or the king. 2 Kai 22. 14. 2 Ch 34. 22 possibly the same as no. 10. 9. A son of Josiah, king of Judah for 3 months before being exiled by Pharaoh Necho. 1 Ch 3. 15. 2 Kai 23. 30-34. J 22. 11, 12 He is elsewhere called Jehoahaz. See Jehoahaz no. 3. 10. Jeremiah's paternal uncle. In 608 BCE Jeremiah bought a field from Shallum's son Hanamel. J 32. 1, 7-9 The time period would allow for him to be the same as no. 8. 11. One of the gatekeepers who agreed to dismiss their foreign wives and sons after Ezra returned to Jerusalem. Ez 10. 24, 44 He is likely related in some way to no. 4. 12. One of the sons of Binwi who also dismissed their foreign wives and sons. Ez 10. 38-42, 44. 13. A prince of half the district of Jerusalem who, with his daughters, joined in doing repair work on Jerusalem's wall. A son or descendant of Halohish. Eni 3. 12. Shalon free from care. Unworried. Unconcerned. A prince of the district of Mizpah. Son of Koloseh. Shalon helped Nehemiah to rebuild a section of Jerusalem's wall and repair the fountain gate. Eni 3. 15. Shaman Shalman from a root meaning make peace. Compensate. Repay. The despoiler of the house of Abel, whom Hosea mentions when prophesying against the faithless northern kingdom of Israel. Though neither Shaman nor Abel are otherwise mentioned in the Bible, Hosea's incidental but emphatic reference to them suggests that the incident was fresh in the mind of his audience. Ho 10. 14. A building inscription of Tiglath-Pileser III refers to a prince of Moab named Salamanu, but there is no historical basis for connecting him with a despoiling in Israel. Ancient Near Eastern Texts, edited by J. Pritchard, 1974, p. 282. Shaman is therefore most generally thought to be a shortened form of Shalmaneser, the name of 5 Assyrian kings. Shalmaneser emerges as the most likely person here referred to, for toward the end of Hosea's period of prophesying, O textoi acute miritra longo, Shalmaneser 970 have ruled for about 35 years. 31 of those years appear to have been employed in warring campaigns to maintain and extend Assyrian dominion. Shalmaneser III made repeated thrusts to the W against the Aramean kingdoms in Syria. His inscription supposedly involving Ahab. In the monolith inscription of Shalmaneser III, a description is given of the Battle of Karkar Hamath in the Orontes Valley, fought in the 6th year of Shalmaneser's reign. The Assyrians there battled an enemy coalition of 12 kings, primarily Syrians. However, in the list appears one called Ahab-bu Matsirah. This name is regularly translated as Ahab the Israelite in modern reference works. See Ancient Near Eastern Texts, p. 279. The participation of Ahab in the battle as an ally of the Syrians is popularly viewed as an accepted fact. Yet, the Bible makes no mention of such event, and despite the apparent similarity in the names, there are serious reasons for doubting the identification of Ahab-bu Matsirah with Ahab of Israel. The Encyclopaedia Biblica London, 1899, Volume I, Col. 91 says the name of Ahab-u-Sirlai, which, as most scholars are now agreed, can only mean Ahab of Israel or, as Himmel thinks, of Jezreel. Italics ours. This shows that the identification was not always as generally accepted as today, and it shows as well that the translation of Matsirah as Israelite has also been subject to doubt. It may be noted that Matsirah is not the term used elsewhere in Assyrian inscriptions to refer to the northern kingdom of Israel. In other Assyrian inscriptions of the time, that land is referred to either by the name of its capital Samaria in the inscriptions or as Bit-hu Omri land, an expression still used a century after the death of Omri. Ancient Near Eastern Texts, pages 284, 285. Shalmaneser's inscriptions show that in his 18th year of rule, or 12 years after the Battle of Karka, he fought against Hazael of Damascus, and also that at that time I received the tribute of the inhabitants of Tyre, Sidon, and of Jehu, son of Omri. Ancient Near Eastern Texts, p. 280. Thus, the identification of Ahab-bu with King Ahab would create a contradiction of the Bible chronology, which shows that between Ahab's death and Jehu's reign there intervened a period of approximately 14 years, covering the reigns of Ahijah and Jehoram. 1 Kai 22. 51. 2 Kai 3. 1. Though most commentators would place Ahab's supposed joining of the Syrian alliance toward the close of his reign, this still does not fit the Bible's chronological framework. Recognizing this problem, scholars Camphausen and Kittel offered the suggestion that Ahab's name has been confused with that of Jehoram in the Assyrian records. Hastings' Dictionary of the Bible, 1904, Volume I, p. 53. There is, however, no record in the Bible of any such participation by Jehoram in the Battle of Karka. It is also difficult to explain why Ahab would unite with the hard-set enemies of Israel in such a coalition. Thus, the Encyclopaedia Americana 1956, Volume I, p. 269 says, we find Ahab strangely allied with his old enemy Ben-Hadad against Shalmaneser Qv of Assyria, though one would suppose he would gladly have seen Ben-Hadad crushed, and Assyria was no immediate danger. Ahab had just fought 2 wars with the Syrians, and though there was a brief period of non-aggression between Israel and Syria, in the 3rd year of that period Ahab fought a final conflict with them, losing his life. 1 Kai 22. 1-4, 34-37. The efforts made at explaining his entry into the Syrian combine, either as a willing ally or under compulsion, are not convincing. Finally, the large force attributed to Ahab-bu in Shalmaneser's inscription does not ring true with the biblical indications of Israel's war equipment. Ahab-bu is listed as bringing 2,000 chariots with him, more than any of the other Otextoi acute Muritra Longo. Shama 908. The principal leaders in the Syrian coalition that Shalmaneser III faced at Karka appear to have been King Adadidri of Damascus and King Ahulani of Hamath. Shalmaneser claimed to have gained a great victory in the battle, but the results were evidently not sufficiently decisive to allow for further Assyrian advance in the W. Thus, additional battles against Adadidri of Damascus are listed during succeeding years. Inscriptions concerning Hazael and Jehu. In fulfillment of Jehovah's prophecy through Elisha, Hazael,